Oh, I'm live now? I don't look live. This is weird. Okay. So, this is 1SP. I'm back again. Again, like I usually be on Tuesdays. I think I came in earlier. Now, this is better timing than what I usually have. I usually schedule it for 10 Eastern, but I think I came in earlier today than I usually come every other week. Um, so hold on one moment. Hold on one moment. Wow, you can barely see me. No, oh, this is better to see me. Everyone says that they couldn't see me before. Oh, this is way better. I wonder if I could be seen now. Is that better? Can you hear me well? Hey, Devon, how you doing? Hey, um, Jeffro, how you doing, Jeffro? You driving, Jeffro? I can't believe you're actually on here. Oh my, I'm gonna do Jeffro how he did me. So there you go. So Devon, yeah, what you think about your Dolphins now? Oh man, it's a great day. It's a great day to be alive. Oh, open, what's it? Open your eyes, peeps. You would open your eyes, peeps. Oh, oh, that's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. How little Finn doing? How little Finn? How Hank doing? How Hank doing? Yes. How Hank doing? Little Finn and Hank, my favorites. Well, you put little fun. Oh my, oh my. But yeah, so today, what I really want to get into, it's not gonna be that long. Usually, when I say it's not gonna be that long, it wind up being long because I be a little emotional and I get very into the message. But today, I don't think I'm gonna really be that long. What I really want to tackle right now, you know, is well, I know last time I was talking about the difficulty that people having in South Africa with the hatred towards outsiders from South Africa and all of that. I really dabbed into that a little bit, but what I really want to get into um, right now is basically the actual word. I discuss how having like the the thought or the mindset that if you can believe that God gonna trust that you trust in God and believe that God can deliver you from any situation, whether it's hatred, jealousy, whether it's greed, whether it's lust, any kind of covetousness that we experience. I believe that we all can be delivered from it. So, you know, jealousy is a big thing, now, and jealousy was a big thing in the beginning of time. Um, ever since the beginning with Cain and Abel, jealousy have always been played a big role in in humanity. But the only way to combat jealousy is by having trust in God and believing that there can be deliverance outside of that. So you know, a lot of times, hatred stems from jealousy. If one person feel oppressed or one person feel less fortunate than another person, then truthfully, jealousy may come out of that. And it all comes with, listening to what, Satan might tell you versus what God may tell you. If God telling you, hey, look, hang in there, be strong, your time is coming soon, wait for the right moment. A lot of people don't want to listen to when God do tell people that. A lot of people will be like, how do I know if God telling me to do something? And most of the time, when it's time to get a blessing, God always, save the best for last. God always, make sure you are completely capable and very equipped to accept the blessing, so much so that you can wind up blessing others. So that's what. Oh, hey, open eyes peeps, look at you! I can't believe this. Open eyes peeps on here. Oh my, open eyes peeps on here. Now that's what I'm talking about. Hey, Jeffro, I had talked to. Well, I had um, actually like show love to cousin Fossils. I had showed love to cousin Fossils. I warned him that when I show love, like and, I only leave one sentence. It's almost like a paragraph, or sometimes I leave more than one little paragraph. Sometimes I leave like three or two or so, depending on how the spirit lead me to like uh, jot down all my convictions while writing what I feel when I'm watching um, other content besides my own. You know, so I warned him. I warned him. He said he was ready. So I know it was a lot because his response was very small and minimal. So, but I had to. I think it was the one about the dog collar. Yeah, it was the one about the actual dog training collar that I wrote about. So, but that's what I wanted to get into. That hey Miss Babs, I see you here. I see you here. Hey, nitrogen Qatar. How you say it? Nitrogen or nitrogen? It looks like nitrogen. I don't know. Nitrogen. It looks like nitrogen. It looks like nitrogen. If it was supposed to be nitrogen, you would have had an I in it, right? So, but it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you on here. Feel free to fellowship with anyone that is here. We're not all you know we're not all bad people here. You know, and I would like to say that a lot of times when other people are more like Christ-like people or people of Christian like theology, or so to speak. A lot of people think that um, while we are Christ-like in theology, that we don't respect other religions. But the truth is, like, what I feel for God, like I told everyone, this is beyond a religion. This is beyond a building. This is beyond um, an organization. This is a relationship. So if I have a relationship with God, in my relationship with God, I gotta be willing to understand Judaism. In my relationship with God, I should be willing, more than willing, to try to understand Islam or try to understand Islamic people. I should more be willing to understand, Buddhist people or Confucius, because we all are brothers and sisters in Christ. Like everyone says, like he said, love your neighbors as yourself. So to, if they're willing to come out and talk to me, then I should be more than willing to try to understand. God gave me 2 ears to listen and one mouth to talk. And most of the time, my mouth is not used to talk first. My mouth is used to talk second. So yeah, so let's carry the crusade. So let's talk. Let's ends of the earth. Well, what we're really doing right here, Miss Babs, is we're actually like right now we're getting into the state of we're talking about jealousy and 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 greed and so forth, and how it's affecting, South Africa and other, countries in the motherland, how, a lot of like foreigners are not being accepted and everything. And that's exactly what's going on in America. A lot of foreigners are not being accepted in America the way it used to be as well. It's not as dangerous as it is in South Africa and countries in Southern Africa. It's not as dangerous as that, as far as we know. But it is, I think jealousy is everywhere and everyone is being oppressed. What but it stems from like what people listen to. If you listen to God or if you listen to Satan, if God telling you to wait on your blessing and wait for that time to arrive, wait for, because you gotta be equipped for a blessing. It's like when it's kind of like when God put Adam in this sleep or trance, depending on what kind of version of the scripture you have. God put Adam in this sleep, this trance, this moment of unconsciousness. I'm gonna put it like that, scientifically speaking. This moment of unconsciousness. He went inside of him, pulled out the rib, pull out a piece of the rib, and he created woman. Now, understand that even though Adam wanted to find the missing part of his body, he knows something was missing. Even though he wanted to find that part of his body that was missing, that rib that was missing, God told him to name all the animals. So in order in order for him to be equipped, in order for him to understand that there was a blessing for him, not just any blessing, but a companion. In order for him to understand that there's someone that does understand you out there, you have to learn to see the power in what you say. You see that? And so the power in what he said, if he named all the animals and say that was a giraffe and it became a giraffe, if he said that was a turtle and it became a turtle, there was power in what he said. And there's power in what we say. There's still power to this day. So it boils down to that. So if we're being oppressed, if we feel oppressed, and God really does have a blessing for us at the end of the tunnel, and if we only see the struggle that we are in and not see if we only see the test that we're in and not see the testimony, then we're ignoring the word of God. God already got, if you trust in God and you know that God would deliver you from something, if you know with all your heart that God would deliver you from it, then there's no reason to be jealous. There's no reason to have greed. There's no reason to have lust, covetousness at all. And that's what I was saying. That's what I was bringing about. That's what I was talking about. This world revolves and we're all the same, as far as being on this earth, having to like live on this earth, breathing oxygen in our lungs, you know, and breathing out, air, carbon dioxide. When we wake up in the morning or in the middle of the night, if we do wake up in the middle of the night, when we wake up, that first breath of life, that first breath of a new day, that first breath of a new hour, that first breath of a new minute, that first breath of a new second, if it's not a positive breath, then that would dictate your entire day. Understand that God, I'm telling you right now, that out of all his creation that he has made in that 6-day period, understand that man and woman was the only creations that he touched with his hand. Everything else he spoke into existence. He said, let there be light. Light was there. He said, let the light separate from darkness. And that's the first day. Light separate from darkness. And that was the first day. But man himself, he had to actually touch and actually mold. And actually, Elohim had to make man. And Elohim had to make woman with the hands. Touch. There's an intimacy between man and God. There's an intimacy because we were created with hands. Yeah. So yeah, Devon. Yeah, Devon is a friend of mine for several years. Several years. He's a big fan of the Miami Dolphins. That's why his what you call that thing? His I know other websites they call it default picture, but his I don't know what you call it. That little icon is a dolphin. So, but that's what we were talking about. We were talking about positivity. We were talking about great things that happen to us, as a whole. How God, change and when you trust, when you believe, when you know, when you understand, a lot of things, in Christianity we don't understand. Like Miss Babs said that she doesn't do traditional worship. She doesn't do traditional worship. I mean, the establishment of a building is the building itself is not there to sanctify you. Understand that going to the building, going to a building is not there to sanctify you. And a lot of people put emphasis on going to a building and calling it a church when the reality is, if two worship under the same name, the reality is a congregation itself is the church. And if we're talking about temple, the temple itself is the human body. So for those who do go to a building, you have to bring, the spirit of God into that building. You have to have it in you in order for it to be magnified throughout the building. A lot of times people join these congregations and everything, and they do not want to get anything out of it. And then at the end of the tunnel, when they find out there was a lot of slander, gossip, scrutiny, when they find out it's a lot of that, they consider themselves church hurt when they shouldn't have put trust and emphasis on a building. Understand that if you're trying to get closer to God, that's your intimacy with God. That's not the building's intimacy with God. You know, prayer is a communication between you and the Creator. You know, someone can pray for you, but that doesn't still define your relationship with God. You understand? Like a lot of people ask for prayer, a lot of people want prayer when you go to this building, but you still got to pray for yourself. You still got to pray with God for yourself. You got to have that one-on-one conversation because you're a human being. You got to have that conversation for yourself. So the building cannot dictate that. The building cannot, you know, tell your relationship with God. And for someone to be hurt by people in the building, man gonna fail you regardless. Mankind is gonna fail you regardless. But when you find out that God has forgiven you for all your shortcomings, when you find out that God has really let accepted all your mistakes and let your mistakes be forgiven in grace, in total grace, then you will start forgiving yourself. And if you forgive yourself, then you can forgive others. I'm not saying that a building can make you do this, but I'm saying that you got to have that relationship for yourself. Hello? Hello? Yes. Oh, hey, Naturally Nollins. Right? Did I say it right? Mrs. Naturally Nollins. Did I say it right? Did I say it right? Yeah, I want to say people names correct. Because I don't like when people do the ISP. You know, sometimes I let it ride. But if you watch my videos, I never say ISP. So, and if you come to my live, I never say ISP. You know, my name is 1SP, you know. Oh, okay. So we said it right. We said it right. I'm not going to butcher names today. So, but that's what it's about. So I don't feel bad. Like if you chose not to go to the building, that's fine. We're not, you know, church itself, the word itself, church. You know, when the first time it was mentioned in the New Testament, it's mentioned John chapter 4. And you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church. Church come from the word ecclesia. Ecclesia is basically uh, called out in Greek. Well, in Greek is called out, and called out. You know, when translate, you know, into Latin, it becomes a group that's called out and called upon. So it's the group. It's the whole big picture of a group, and the way people met up in secrecy, you know, at night. That was the church. That was the early church. That was what defined the whole synopsis of fellowship. It happened at night. It happened in secrecy because Christians was getting persecuted back then. Christians were getting persecuted not only by Rome, but they were being called out by the Judaism. And I'm not saying that Judaism is bad, because in order to understand Christianity, like I said, you gotta understand Judaism, because that's the way Yeshua was raised. He was raised as, you know, a Hebrew. And if he was raised as a Hebrew, then a lot of things, and to understand most of the scriptures, you got to understand Hebrew culture. You got to understand Hebrew calendars. You got to understand Hebrew seasons. You got to understand Hebrew texts, holidays, all of that. You got to understand all of that before you can truly understand how Yeshua lived. You know, and a lot of us, make emphasis on the building, but this building, was only bought up after Rome took over Christianity. After Rome took over Christianity. One of the biggest things that I want to understand, how does Rome become in control of a religion, right? Sanctify most of the people. You gotta go. The Vatican is called the Holy City, but understand that how does Rome control most of everything that's Christian, like, and everything originated in Israel. The I mean, like, if it wasn't, it was originated, in Israel. So, how does Rome become in control after everything was originated? The first pope did not become a pope until he was crucified upside down, and that is, you know, the disciple Apostle Peter, the one that got his foot washed by Yeshua, you know. So, but that's what I want to understand. You know, this is what church, this is where this whole building of church originated in Rome, because a lot of, I believe a lot of gods that they were worshiping were done in buildings, and for the most part, they moved Christianity into the building to get a lot of people that worship gods, the polytheistic, that's how you say it, polytheistic, the polytheistic Romans into Christianity. And that's why we also have a lot of holidays, that's really not based on Christianity, but we put a Christianity twist on them. Does that make sense? But what I want to understand, how do we get Rome, like how does Rome become in charge of something? I know Constantine, the story of Constantine, how he took scriptures out and stuff. He if it didn't make the cut a certain day, then it wasn't a part of the Bible. I understand that, but how does Rome, the ruler of like the whole land at that time, when Christianity was, like, when Christians were being persecuted and stuff like that, the people that were killing them, how do they become in control of Christianity? That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's what I'm trying to figure out. The same people that were killing them, the Christians, persecuting them, back to back, all the time, how do they become in charge of Christianity? Like, how do, and, the Vatican is where, all the secrets are kept and all the secrets are told. I'm not trying to figure out what happened as far as life. All I'm trying to figure out is, how did they become in control over Christianity, and like they were the one killing the Christians in early Christianity. Now that's different. That's different. I don't know. I don't know how. Like, I don't know how. I don't know what happened. But I'm doing my studying. I'm doing everything I can to get an answer for that. For that question. How did Rome become in control when they killed most of the Christians? I'm doing my studying. And I will give you what my research gave me, next week. I would give you that. That's my question, and that's what I'm looking for the answer for. So that's what I'm gonna be looking up to. Oh, you gotta go? Your phone, Dave, later on this evening. I'll be on his live later on this evening. I'm always on Jeffro live. I love being on Jeffro's live. He's a very good host. And Miss Babs is an excellent hostess as well. Excellent hostess. One of the greatest. I think Miss Babs was the first person live I've ever been on. Yep, She was. Like Miss Bell's live was the first live I ever visit. She was. Oh yeah, I know Devon ain't saying nothing. He probably left, but yes, that gentleman is a great supporter. A great supporter. But that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about all these things, all these great things that happen, throughout time. I'm trying to, double down and like actually like understand those great things that took place. You know, reading reading biographies written by Cassius Dio and stuff like that. Especially like you find out a lot of things that happened throughout the time of Christianity and early Christianity, and you find out a lot of things that happened when Rome was like in control during the time of early Christianity. So Cassius Dio is a great source for understand the early church, as well as the writings of Paul, the epistles of Paul. But I may have to put you on hold for a little while. Stand by. Gotta check on kids. Stand by. I ain't take forever. Everyone's still here, huh? Okay. So I see everyone here networking. I ain't up there where Mr. Jennifer was, but I will be one day. I will be one day. Hello, everyone here. Knock knock. Hello. No one's talking. Okay. So, but that was that.